I don't know about you boys, but I was telling Belle, it's kind of days sometimes you just wish I worked in sports.
Yeah.
You know? It is, it's actually fitting. It's 9/11. Because there's that kind of feel. You know what I mean? Little shock, little numbness.
And a worry about what's next.
Yeah. It is, it is, I don't think people realize, some people out there do, but maybe an older generation, because they saw Charlie and Fox, but the way he had with the younger generation, I spent last night, first of all, I did like a gazillion shows, didn't go to bed. I got up at 12:30 or whatever and go to bed till about 10:30. Didn't leave my studio till about then. And on top of that, in between, I was talking to my little brothers and sisters who have all grown up with Charlie. In fact, he was the big reason my brother is really into politics. It's a huge reason for that. And my sister and my brother-in-law. I mean, that's, because, and if you're, because I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but we're a little older than probably his audience. And his reach amongst the youth. And I tweeted this today, and I mean it wholeheartedly. I think without Charlie, Trump doesn't get to the White House. And it had nothing to do with just the last election cycle. When they started that back in, 2012? When they started that, him and I think, was his name, Bill Montgomery, and they started doing this thing. It was a grassroots thing built, and he doesn't get enough because of the, was he a provocateur at time? Of course. Did he entertain and put mustard on stuff? Absolutely. Welcome to the world that everybody lives in. But you know what he did that he doesn't get the credit for? Is Turning Point USA, is building that thing there that gave voice to everybody. Not just the right, but the left. Not just people who are believers in God, but I watched something, and I don't know if you guys have seen this, where he has a debate with a Satanist. And it was fascinating. And a lot of the guys and some gals in our business, when they go out and do these kind of things, they're looking for clicks, likes, when they're trying, they may do it for 2 hours taking, people on stage and they debate them back and forth. They're looking for stuff that they could do and embarrass and look like they've won something. Charlie was never like that. Charlie treated everybody cordial. Charlie treated everybody in a way that's what our founding fathers want. What do you have to say? Let me see if my ideas are better than your ideas. Let's debate it. And he was always open to listening, which is so important. And it was, because yesterday we had Scott on and it just happened. So Spicky's on here. He comes on and it really just was breaking, like the break before we came. And then that whole time we weren't sure what was going on. We weren't sure what was going on. And then finally I had gotten home and I had to go live and redo my shows and everything. And he had passed away. And it was my wife came in. My wife's not very political. And the tears that were coming down because of who he was, because my wife is very, very, she's in the Bible all day. She saw not a person who had a voice in politics, but she saw a believer. She saw a man of faith. She saw a husband and a father get taken away. And it upset her because one of the things, his pastor out there in Arizona did like a live yesterday. And one of the things that he talked about is they text every day. And it was very interesting because the last text he shared, essentially, because I don't have it pulled up here, is Charlie was kind of moving away from the politics because he wanted to, his faith was the thing. He wanted to be more about the faith. He was almost looking to do, what can I do to bring young people to the Lord. What can I do now that I've done this? What can I do? And a couple weeks ago, he was on a podcast, and they asked him actually about this.
How do you want to be remembered? I mean, if I die, everything just goes away. How would you, if you could be associated with one thing, how would you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. The most important thing is my faith in my life.
Most important thing is my faith. And he wanted to move in that direction. There is no doubt in this country right now, we have a political divide that is, I've done so many interviews and talked to, to so many people about this in the last 15, 18 hours. I said, before me, you may have to go back to like the 60s, 68. You had some of those things, the Medgar Evers and the, Malcolm X and of course MLK, and you can start going on. But that kind of political assassination and that kind of tension that was palpable. I must have talked to several people yesterday as they thought they're going to go get armed and go do something. I'm like, first and foremost, you're upset because people are celebrating Charlie being shot and being killed. You know what Charlie would say? It's the right to do so. And trying to do something that you think you need to do as some sort of payback in Charlie's name, he wouldn't want that. That's not who he was. Because the minute you do that, you cross a line. And, you'll probably hear this all day. Did we cross the Rubicon? Did we get to a point where we crossed something here where we went from day to night? I'd like to think we did. But it's unsettling out there. The emails I got, the text I've been getting on my national show and stuff, it is unsettling. I was telling Belle, my uncle, who is, first of all, love him to death, little emotional at times, very much on the right, very huge, not just in size, and he'll tell you that, but huge in love. He loves Charlie. And he was so upset and so angry. And I was texting him at 3 a.m. I told Belle, I finally had to get him off the subject by sending him hundreds of funny kitty videos and weird animal videos to make him laugh because he was so angry. And it was a visceral anger. And I'm like, dude, I get it. But the minute you give into something like that, his thing that he was building, his thing that he was working for, his love of the Constitution, his love of, first and foremost, being a peacekeeper, being a Christian, a man of faith, his love of all of those things in America, the minute you give into that, all of that stuff goes away. He built something that is going to get stronger. He built something that is going to blossom and bloom in ways that he couldn't imagine. And to do something because you think it's in his name that we need to know. You need to do is carry on. We need to go out there. We need to talk about the things that we differ in and have cordial conversations, see people as human beings. Understand that we don't see eye to eye in everything. Even people who agree don't see eye to eye in everything. We live in the greatest country in the world. And the number one thing we have when it comes to our Constitution, right, that First Amendment, that thing right there, is the pressure valve. You got to take the pressure off. And we need to do that. That's what he was doing. He wanted debate. He wanted conversation. He wanted to go out and speak to people and have them give their ideas to him and vice versa. I mean, am I right or am I right?
You're right, man. I mean, he wanted everybody out of their echo chambers. And I think that's one of the reasons we're where we at today. We are where we are at today. Is everybody has just retreated into, just being comfortable because I don't want to hear somebody else's opinion.
Yeah. When I came on the station, I'm independent as it gets, right? I've got some ideas over here, some ideas over there. I love everybody. I do, right? From the wackadoos out there that we always joke about to the hardcore mag, I love everybody and I love their ideas. And I want us to have an exchange of ideas. I want us not to be afraid to have our ideas challenged. And maybe if our ideas don't stand the test of what we think they should because we didn't have all the information or we were given partial information or somebody even lied to us, that we can stand up and be big enough to go, oh, there's something else. That's why he did this. That's why he did this. And you want the definition of terrorism is what this was. Terrorism is using the means of violence to change government policy, using that as a fear. This is what this is. You can't let them win. And having conversation, having vigorous debate, learning about other people, seeing people as a neighbor, as a citizen of Earth, till the aliens come. That's important. We don't see each other that way. We don't hang out. We don't commune with one another. We're afraid. We're afraid of everything. We got a younger generation who was raised, in this way where mom and dad did everything for them. They never faced really any difficulties. And when they did, they didn't know what to do. So they lash out like babies. We've got a mental illness problem in this country. And it's not just somebody on the street who's hooked on drugs and stuff. It's people that are struggling weekly because they've put so much craziness in their world of identities and been told thousands of different things. And now we need a reset and we need a conversation. We need to take the temperature down in this country. Because we still are that beacon of hope. We still are all of those things. We still are all of those things that Charlie thought we should be. And we need to be. We do. And I think the more that we take a step back and say, what else can we take away from this besides strengthening Turning Point, bringing younger people into debate and conversations and that stuff? What else can we do? It is about getting back to being human again, humanizing one another. We've got to do that. Too much discourse out there, too much that is more about show and less about reality.